All right, we called this press conference today to announce an arrest that we made in connection with the bomb threat that was called in on Monday to the criminal courthouse here in downtown Pittsburgh. Approximately 8:47, we had a 911 call come in from an individual stating that a bomb was ready to detonate that morning inside the county courthouse. At that time, we made the decision to evacuate the courthouse. There were approximately 250, maybe a little more than that, that were actually evacuated out onto the sidewalks and in the general area here downtown. We initially started an investigation. We also had canine sniffing explosive dogs from multiple law enforcement agencies assist, and we were efficiently able to make the building clear, deem it safe, and return the people inside the building. Subsequent to our investigation, we arrested an individual named Brandon Hips. He's 21 years old, listed as homeless, and he's currently in the Allegheny County Jail, and he's awaiting arraignment on terroristic threats, which is a felony 3, false alarms to agencies of public safety, 3 counts of misdemeanor 1, obstructing administration of law and other governmental function, misdemeanor 2, recklessly endangering another person, misdemeanor 2, and penalties involving communications with 911 systems, misdemeanor 3. So at first, I just want to take this opportunity to commend my detectives in this department, the supervisors, and all personnel assigned to this investigation. They did an exemplary, very professional job in bringing this case to resolve. So I want to start out by thanking all of the deputies and supervisors that put their efforts into bringing this individual to justice. And I'll open it for questions.
It alludes to it in the here, but what was his reason for wanting to sort of clear out and shut down the courthouse that day?
He was required to appear that day in front of Judge Bruce Beamer on a parole violation which resulted from a conviction for assault. He failed to appear. There was a bench warrant issued, and he was supposed to appear that day. He feared that he was going to be sent to a state institution, and simply he didn't want to come to court, so he felt the need to call in a bomb threat to the courthouse.
When these situations happen, how many resources are called? Because you obviously have to take this very seriously. How many resources are used for something that, luckily in this sense, we saw as a false alarm?
We used all resources possible. We jumped on this case immediately. We worked it tirelessly for hours and hours every day, and we were very intent on finding this individual and bringing him to justice.
Any other agencies help you bring in dogs or anything extra?
I can't understand.
Any other agencies help you with this, bring in extra dogs or anything?
In addition to our canine unit, the City of Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh Police, the Allegheny County Police, and there was actually a canine deputy from Mercer County Sheriff's Office who was training locally, who also responded to help conduct the sweep of the courthouse. And again, that took approximately approximately an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half before the building was deemed safe and the occupants were allowed to re-enter.
With a 911 call via cellular phone, what does technology enable law enforcement and emergency officials to be able to determine and pinpoint about the call used to call 911?
In this case, what we had to work with, we had a 911 call. We had a recording of a voice of the actual threat. The cell phone that was used was a device that was only able to make a 911 emergency call. It wasn't capable of making any other type of call or function on the device other than making an emergency call. And when we arrested him, he was in the possession of 2 cellular devices, and we strongly believe that the one was the one used in the crime. And we have possession of that phone.
Though this was something on a much larger scale than I guess you would typically see, these types of threats are made a lot, and we've seen a lot more of them, especially in our local schools. But can you just expand upon how serious doing something like this really is, even if it's a fake threat?
Of course, you think, could this be a fake threat? And, you have differing opinions on that, but in the interest of caution and public safety, we have to do our due diligence to keep people safe. And it's very important to us when these things happen. I mean, this individual simply didn't want to go to court. So he felt the need to call 911 to inconvenience judges, juries, court activities, row offices, all the different functions that occur in this building on a daily basis. Apparently he didn't consider the volume of inconsideration that was considered in this case. And like I said, 250 people were disrupted for 90 minutes, and it's uncalled for. My office is not going to stand for that. If you do something like that, we will dedicate resources. We will do everything we can to find you and to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law, and we're doing that in this case.
Exploring that, if someone were to be able to get away with disrupting the court system, and if there were not action of the sort that you took, it could inspire other people to do that. In other words, there's a message sent to anyone who might ever contemplate doing something like this, right?
Yeah, certainly that's something we want to do. We want to, do our duties. We want to send a message that, if you're going to disrupt, people's livelihoods, their business, their profession, and what they do on an everyday basis, you are going to be sought, and when caught, you are going to be handled appropriately and swiftly. And we want that message to get out because we understand there are copycat cases. Well, oh, he got away with it, but, just for whatever reason. But the simple reason, I don't want to go to court today, so I'm just going to call downtown and shut half of downtown down because of it. That's unacceptable, and that will not be tolerated by law enforcement.
And you've already touched base on there's obviously numerous resources called in for this. That's all resources that could have been doing other things at this time.
Absolutely. There were scores of police officers assigned to this detail. Like I said, other agencies responded from different areas of the county and the city, and certainly it took up an adequate amount of their time, from what they would be doing and what we would be doing and what everybody would be doing. So it's not only a disruption, it's a major deal, and my office is committed to not tolerating that, and I would say the same for my staff. We can't allow this to happen at the courthouse.
Do you know if he bought the phone for this phone purpose?
I don't believe so. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. But he certainly had it. He had two phones, and we strongly believe one of the two phones he had is the one he used to commit this crime.
Thank you.
Was he cooperative when you guys took him into custody?
He was cooperative, and going back a little bit in the investigation, when it happened, we had kind of a broad array of suspects, and through the investigation we started eliminating people, and we were able to narrow it down, and to be quite honest, we thought hips might be a priority. So we went out, we talked to people on the north side. The call was placed in West Park. We flooded the north side. We talked to people on the street. We talked to homeless shelters. We talked to businesses. We talked to people in their homes. And it's kind of old-fashioned police work. Just hit the streets and try and gather information, which we did. We narrowed a suspect. We conducted hours of surveillance on Market Square once we learned he hangs out there, and he showed up, taken into custody without incident. The 2 cell phones were recovered. He was brought back to our office, to the investigations division, where he was Mirandized and interviewed, and told us exactly what his actions were that day.
So the foremost potential suspects in this circumstance were included people who maybe had court appearances but were in custody. Is that fair to say?
I don't want to say specifically what our strategies were at that point. We had different ideas of what may have happened, but certainly we like to look at who didn't come to court that day, and try and narrow it down. But you mentioned technology. There is technology that is very helpful in investigations, and there wasn't a lot in this case. And like I said, alluded to earlier, this was more just hard police work, and they should be commended for their efforts.
We're going to continue to follow this story. You can find the latest updates on Pluto TV and streaming platforms with the free CBS News app.